Namaste everyone. My name is Radhika Iyer Talati. I am a mother, first and foremost, a yogini, a mountaineer, an entrepreneur, and I basically believe in being kind and doing good, just like you. Today I'm going to be talking about a very, very interesting topic. A lot of people have asked me over a long period of time that Radhika, how do you manage? You have 3 children, you have a joint family, you have so many businesses, you're also running a foundation, you also do videos. How do you do that? Well, I think in one line, if I have to say and summarize this, it just, I would say that I just take it every moment. I just take it one step at a time. You must definitely try it. So I have jotted down some points because obviously I have to tell you what I do. So those points are common no matter what you do, whether you do a business, whether it is about yourself or whether it is about running a family. But the one thing that has steadily stayed with me throughout my life, ever since I think I was 15, and when my class teacher asked me what I wanted to do in life, and I said I wanted to be a mummy. So I think the one common answer throughout all these years, my oldest daughter being 25 now, is the passion of being a mother. When there is passion in the fact that you have born a child and that the child is something that you wanted very, very badly, everything kind of sorts itself out. I have loved the fact that I have 3 children. It is a choice that I consciously made, and it is a choice that I am so happy I made. When that happens, you automatically learn to navigate the other steps very, very naturally. So keep that passion alive. Second, I've noted down these points. Second is spending a lot of quality time. So don't worry about the quantity. There are a lot of mothers out there who are working very hard to make ends meet, to make sure that their children have a good life, that their family is comfortable, that the food is warm in the kitchen, and yet they go out there scurrying everything so that they can finish everything on time. In this process, don't take a guilty trip that you're not spending quantity time with your children. Trust me, it's not important. My children, when all the 3 of them were growing up, and I remember my son, who's the youngest, was about 9 to 10 months old, is when I signed up to participate in the Glad Rags Mrs. India, which was quite a challenge because I already had 2 children who were older. This one was very young. I'd still not weaned him off. And here I was aspiring to participate in a national level contest. And I did it. By the time he was 14 months old, I had lost about 28 kilos. I had trained, I went to the gym for the very first time, and not only that, I got selected from more than 2,900 applications for Glad Rags Mrs. India, where they chose only 21 women. So it's not difficult as long as you learn to spend quality time, not only with them, but even with yourself. Because whatever you do will reflect on the upbringing of your child. You know, they always say, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So practice what you preach. That's my third suggestion to you. If you are telling your children not to get distracted, if you are telling your children to sit quietly in one place and concentrate to study or to do an activity, remember that you need to do it first too. Children don't really need to be instructed. They just need to know that this is what they're supposed to do because this is what they're seeing you do. So this is my third tip. The fourth one is to learn the art of communication. Very, very important. I have counseled a lot of kids. A lot of children come to me, a lot of parents come to me, and issues that are common between kids who are as little as 5 to 6 years old to as old as say 20 to 21 years old is that somewhere along the line we have forgotten to communicate with them. And when I say communication, it does not mean instruction. It means having a conversation every single day, even if it's for just 10 minutes, to find out what they're doing, where they're going, who their friends are, what they like to do. And that has helped me create this magical bond with my kids. We watch shows together, we listen to very similar music. And not only that, they also listen to the music I listen to. They also listen to the conversations I am interested in. And that's because we have developed a two-way communication channel where we both love and respect what we do with each other. So that's a very, very important point. Another point that I feel that I can talk to you is about building trust and mutual respect. This is something that is extremely important, especially in children nowadays. So I remember when we were growing up, we never really had a choice. If my father or my mother said something, we'd simply do it. But that's not the way it is now. We have children who are genetically far more refined and updated than we ever were. So it is very important to treat them as individuals. They could even be just 2 or 3 months old. Start the practice of treating them with respect, and automatically they will also learn to return that to you when time comes. So don't worry if your children are not respecting you right now. If you have imbibed the quality of respecting them, sooner or later they will definitely turn around. Another important point is to learn to respect the boundaries of your child. Tell me how many of you honestly do that. Are you ready to trust your children with their school bags, their laptops, their mobile phones, with any statement that they make? You are automatically doubting them. You do not know whether they're telling you the truth simply because you have not learned to trust them, and also because you don't trust yourself. So once you learn to develop trust and faith and know that they are not going to lie to you, and even if they are manipulating the truth, it is because for a larger good, have the faith that you've taught them the right thing. So this has helped me a lot. I don't remember a single time in all these years ever having checked my children's phones, ever finding out whether they are doing something otherwise than what they are telling me, ever checking their school bags, or ever cross-checking with their friends. I have never done it. And believe me, I can safely say that I have not only birthed, but also raised very, very responsible children. And I can guarantee you that it'll work out for you as well. One more important point is to learning to be happy myself. I've written that. Learning to be happy myself has made a lot of difference. So if you're happy, people around you are going to be happy. So there are these 5 states of consciousness according to the Indic Shastras. The first says Dhi, which means your spiritual heart. So if your Dhi is developed, and which is developed in a mother because she encompasses a lot of energy from the Prakriti herself. And when she becomes a mother, there is an overnight transformation in the way she looks at things and the way she sees things, right? I'm sure all you mothers would agree. So when your Dhi is developed, your spiritual heart is developed, you learn the fine art of, showering love, looking at the other person as an individual, giving respect, all the things that I just discussed. The second supreme energy is also called Medha. Medha means having a higher intellect. When you develop these skills, when you're conscious about these skills, these traits automatically will develop. So when you talk about Medha or a superior intellect, you start looking at everything from the bird's eye. So you are elevating yourself to a stronger position and you can look at things and then you can connect the dots. So when your Medha is intact, you also learn to make very responsible decisions. The third is Prajna. Prajna means, how do you define Prajna? Prajna is a better way to understanding things, not just one single path, but a parallel path that will help you understand a lot of. Your energy is much more superior. You elevate yourself into a level that is basically helpful for everybody else to understand where their problem is. And then, of course, is Dhriti. Dhriti means a higher will. The fact that you can dabble this, you can make it to the school meeting, you can talk to your in-laws, you can organize a party, arrange the return gifts on time and be happy. So when there is a higher will, because obviously your dhi and your prajna and your medha are developed, it automatically solves a lot of your problems. And the last but not the least, after dhriti, is smriti, to have a good memory. So remember what your child was, what was a small accomplishment that he or she talked about but you were not giving any attention, to basically trace back their accomplishments, to make them feel very proud, to make them feel secure and taken care of. When all of these skills develop, you become a mother who can develop a beautiful bond with her family. Now, this is as far as the family is concerned, the kids are concerned. Now, once that is sorted out, wherever you want to work, whichever place that you want to show your prowess at, will automatically be better. It's like this, remember, when you start with a good day, everything towards the end of the day is amazing and lovely. And when you start off with a bad day, maybe stuck at a traffic jam or had a fight at home with either the maid or the family, and then you know that progressively the entire day goes bad. So when your family balance is sorted out, when your kids are sorted out, your communication with them are sorted out, automatically anything that you do outside the house is only going to be a brownie point. How I managed these businesses was, I also think that I attributed a lot to the city I'm in. I come from a very small city, of course. It's a smart city in Gujarat. I come from Baroda, and everything was at a hand's distance. So for me to jump from my office to my workplace to my home was very easy. So that definitely, I would say, gave me an added advantage. Of course, the energy of the city was amazing. But now we live in global times where technological advancements are unbelievably, they bring you closer, especially the time of the pandemic where we've stayed at home and dabbled into different things. So use technology to balance out all your work. There is a very nice story of Bhima that has inspired me to do the next thing that I'm going to talk to you about. So once when the Pandavas were in the jungle in their Vanvasa, what happens is that Bhima is going to fetch some firewood because Draupadi has to make a meal. And as he's going through the jungle, he sees this weak monkey that is, in the middle of his path and would just not budge. So Bhima looks at the monkey, thinks that it's a very weak monkey, and he says that, "Monkey, I need to cross, so please can you leave space for me?" The monkey does not listen. And Bhima is known to be this man who's got the strength of over 1,000 elephants, right? So he's not the one who's going to listen to a weak monkey not getting up from his path. So he keeps nudging the monkey. And then the monkey says, "Listen, if you want to cross over, why don't you only help me and lift my tail so you can create a path for yourself?" Bhima says, now that's what it's come to, but he's getting late. So he picks up the tail and he realizes he's not able to budge the tail from there. He realizes that he has put in all the 1,000 elephant strength into moving the tail of that weak looking monkey so that it can move out of his path, and he's unable to accomplish that. And that's when he realizes that this monkey is not an ordinary monkey. The monkey possesses some very divine qualities. And so he kneels down, surrenders, does a namaskar, and tells the monkey that he's very sorry. And that is when the monkey shows himself. He is none other than Hanuman, who teaches Bhima that it's not, however strong you might be, it is important to surrender and learn to take help. And that's when I realized, when I started having one child after the other, and I knew that I could do it all, that I could manage home and fix a perfectly beautiful dinner, have parties, but I realized that somewhere along the line I was getting fatigued out. I started reaching out to people, I started delegating work, I started to distribute work and elevate myself to a higher level where I could inspect work. Trust me, when you start having this on-off button where you know how not to remain too detached and not to remain too attached, then you will be able to balance everything very methodically. So according to me, these are some of the points that I have practiced in my life. And because I get to know that I'm successful, I'm sharing this with you. Not that I ever thought about it, not that I ever did something to please anybody else. I knew that this was my responsibility, and I knew that if I have taken up the responsibility of bringing 3 wonderful children into the world, I should empower them so that they can carry this communication, this legacy, this ease ahead with them. I hope that this has helped you, and I hope that it has answered at least some of your questions. Not that you might agree to everything that I say, but pick up those points that you think are effective for you and take it with you. Maybe it will help you do something that makes you happy. Namaste. If you've liked this video, please do share and please do subscribe to this channel. I'll be back with very simple topics that we can casually talk about life, about your own self, about development, about spirituality, and everything under the sun. See you soon.